22-16. It is the Titans winning over the Bills after the Bills had driven down, and a 41-yard Steve Christie field goal had given Buffalo a 16-15 advantage. Tennessee on the ensuing kickoff with a trick play, and Kevin Dyson runs it all the way back for the winning touchdown. Let's quickly head to Tennessee right now. Standing by live, Howard Simon. Howard, have you ever been in a situation where you've seen such a wild finish like this?
Other than the Stanford-Cal game, and that I saw on television, no. I got to tell you guys, there was a great feeling on the Bills sideline when Steve Christie hit that field goal. And I look at the players, you see them coming off behind me. You can see the disbelief in their eyes. When they returned that touchdown and Dyson scored that touchdown, guys dropped to their knees, throwing helmets off in total disbelief. Just there's a look of shock on every single Bills player as he walks off the field here at Adelphia Coliseum. This has got to be one of the most gut-wrenching, maybe the most gut-wrenching loss, obviously except for the Super Bowls, that a number of these guys will ever go through in their lifetime of playing pro football.
And Howard, if you can hear me, it's Bob. On the field, as the play took place, you looked over at Wade Phillips, and Wade Phillips, after it was done, did not even seem emotional. He was convinced, it looked like, that indeed it was not a lateral, but a forward pass.
Well, you guys were no better than me. I was in the end zone Dyson scored in, and you couldn't really tell much on the jumbotrons, and I obviously didn't have the angle to see, so I'll have to defer to you. I did not see, other than the play going down with Tennessee throwing the ball around and Dyson coming up the far sideline. I had no idea what the angle was and could not really see the play at all. Obviously, the Bills were on the field, anxiously awaiting the ruling, hoping it was going to be reversed. But in terms of the angle and everything, it'll be interesting to see when we get in the locker room what they say. But you guys would have had the better angle than I would down here.
All right, Howard, we know you're down there on the field right now, and it's a happy Tennessee Titan crowd. But in the first half, it was one penalty after the next for the Buffalo Bills, especially on offense. There was so much made about the crowd noise in that stadium. Was it the loudest crowd that you've ever been around?
Well, it was one of the louder ones. I don't know if it's the loudest, but it was pretty loud. And you're right, they took a lot of false starts. Dusty Ziegler, I think, had 3 of them. The offense was jumping off sides. Guys, they're going to look back at plays, and if they could maybe come out of here. Obviously, the play at the end. But think back to the touchdown drive that Tennessee had to go up 9-0. Bruce Smith jumps offside on a play where they force a fumble and create a turnover. Instead, that drive continues, and it results in a touchdown. You also think about the field goal at the end of the first half. The amazing ball spot movement after the replay review, which still confounds me. We did get a ruling on the juggled pass also by Peerless Price, by the way. They cannot review a juggled catch, which was the one down at the 35 of Tennessee. But you look at the Bruce offsides, the Gabe Northern penalty on the missed field goal. The Bills had some things go wrong that came back to haunt them in this game, and obviously the breakdown in coverage at the end of the game. Despite all of that, the penalties, the sacks, the turnover, the banged-up O-line. Jay Riemersma was in on the first possession of the third quarter and was injured, didn't play the rest of the half. Marlo Perry, your dime linebacker, goes down. Thurman Thomas goes down. They were still in position to win the game, which I think will make this much more difficult for these guys to stomach.
Howard, I know one thing for sure. A lot of people certainly talking about the fact that Rob Johnson did not have a very strong first half. He was sacked 5 times, 2 of those by Kurtz. He had the safety, but yet Wade stuck with him. He came back in the second half and played much better football, as did the entire offense, because they were able to open it up and run the ball a little bit. And he did lead them down to that last-minute field goal drive. So you can't put this all on Rob Johnson at all.
No, again, the guy's dealing with a banged-up O-line. He did not have a lot of time to make decisions in the first half. Give credit to Javon Curse and the rest of the Tennessee Titans. They got good pressure on him. The Bills didn't really have a consistent running game going in the first half. They came out, tried to establish it, got the big Antoine Smith run. Then the offense started moving the ball. They hit some nice pass plays. They got some things going, some continuity. They cut down on their penalties, and they hung on to the football. They played well in the second half, well enough to get this team in position to win the game. Wade Phillips, I'm sure, will be second-guessed for kicking the field goal with 20 seconds left. They had no timeouts. You could always maybe think kneel down, spike, do something to just chew a little more time off the clock. But there's no way he could have anticipated his special teams unit giving up a touchdown on the ensuing kickoff.
All right, Howard, thank you. Go ahead and get on into the locker room, and we will chat with you a little later on in our program. Now, we will indeed take it all the way until 6 o'clock. So if you're watching across the United States course, we sometimes like to brag that we are global because we
Global
have
is the
calls.
word.
We have calls from all over the country and also the world, for that matter. So consequently, stay with us. We do have a Power Pack program for you. Now, the scoring summary brought to you in part by Colton RV. Get on the road to savings. It is Colton RV.
All right, Jim, and as we begin the scoring summary at the beginning of the game, it is a safety as Rob Johnson fumbles the snap, then trips basically over himself into the end zone. Javon Kearse tackles him, fumbles the ball out of the end zone, and at 3:41 in the second quarter, it is a 2-0 lead in favor of the Titans.
Then what Howard talked about the penalty on Bruce Smith, which kept the drive alive for the Tennessee Titans. Thus, they come down and score in the second quarter. 5 plays, 28 yards. Steve McNair, it was a 1-yard touchdown run. Extra point was good. 9-zip Tennessee.
And the lead increases, Jim, because Aldell Greco connects on a 40-yard field goal, and it makes the Titans with the lead of 12-0 after a field goal was taken off because he had missed a field goal, but a penalty allows him to do it again, and he does connect 12-0.
Then Antoine Smith on a 5-yard touchdown run in the third quarter. Also, big play in that game was a long run ripped off by Antoine Smith. That helped set up the touchdown. That made it 12-7 in favor of Tennessee.
Moving ahead now, 12-7 at that point. The Bills take their first lead of the game as it's Smith once again. Nice pass completion on this drive. Rob Johnson to Eric Moulds. He gets in from 1 yard out. 3:52 early in the fourth quarter. A 65-yard drive, and the Bills up 13-12. The 2-point conversion, a pass to Kevin Williams off his hands, is incomplete.
And then the Titans come right back. Aldell Greco nailing a 35-yard field goal. 10 plays, 27 yards. The Bills defense stout once again, shutting down the Tennessee offense. They had to settle for the field goal. It was good. Titans lead it 15-13.
Then maybe Rob Johnson with this stepping up the best of the game on this last-minute drive, a 2-minute drill. They get the ball with 1:48 left. Steve Christie connecting on a 41-yard field goal. As Jim mentioned, there were 20 seconds left in the ball game at that point, and the Bills take the lead 16-12.
Well, it should be 16-15. That's an incorrect graphic right there. In the meantime, with the ensuing kickoff, the trick play at the end of the game. Taken, Wycheck with the lateral back to Kevin Dyson. He runs it all the way in for the score. Extra point was good. 22-16 in favor of the Tennessee Titans. John Butler Show will be on this network Monday from 7 until 8 o'clock. Host Paul McGuire. You'll be able to call in and ask your questions of the Bills general manager. Once again, that's Monday at 7.
Once again, the final score of this AFC wildcard opening round playoff game in Nashville at the Adelphia Coliseum. It's the Tennessee Titans on a lateral on a kickoff, defeating the Buffalo Bills in stunning fashion. The final score, 22-16. Thus, the Bills are eliminated for the second straight year in the opening round of the postseason.
All right, everybody, we will entertain some of your telephone calls as we await Wade Phillips and his news conference, which we will bring to you momentarily at 1-800-388-7897. Let's go to the phones. Erie, PA is our first stop. Hello, Steve. Welcome.
Welcome. Nice to talk to you guys.
Okay.
First time ever on the show.
Nice to have you.
Question. Why do you guys think that Wade Phillips stuck with Rob Johnson after the first quarter? I mean, the first quarter was pitiful.
Yeah, well, I think it was pretty obvious that he had made up his mind, as he had in the past when he went with Doug Flutie in games where a lot of people thought that he should have pulled Doug when he was struggling in contests. He made up his mind that he was going to stay with Rob Johnson, and the only way that he was going to come out was going to be if he was injured. And so it was Rob Johnson's game to win or lose, and they lost.
Now, I have a comment, too, on the league and the officiating part of it, okay? If the league didn't have the rule where the coaches were eliminated from challenging a call within the last 2 minutes of a period, what Coach Phillips could have challenged that possession call that went against us.
Right, you're talking about the peerless price.
Yes, because Howard cleared that up on the sideline. That is a call that is not challengeable. You cannot challenge that call. Yeah, we already had that clarified.
So Steve, even if Coach Phillips could have or wanted to, he would not be allowed. We didn't know that exactly at first, but we found out from Howard down on the field. So that is the case for sure.
Yep.
Steve, thanks very much for the call. Let's head out once again to Hamilton, New York, and welcome Mark to the show. Go ahead, Mark, with your question.
Yes. Number one question is that questionable call. The refs gave them one call, reviewing it. when the guy was at the...
That was on the spot of the ball, correct, with Steve McNair?
Right.
Yeah, that is a reviewable call.
Well, they got to change the rules a little bit because that was a possession call. You know that.
We understand perfectly.
And we agree in a lot of ways, yeah.
The second question, guys, why did he go for the field goal on, I don't know if it was first or second down? Why didn't he run the clock down to 4 seconds?
Well, that's something that we were thinking about. You thought he might have come up to the line of scrimmage and then at that time stopped it with about 2 seconds left and taking your best chance. To be honest with you, I thought he should have come up to the line of scrimmage and had Rob Johnson spike the football.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you
but maybe in a situation where the place is going crazy and they have had so much trouble at the offensive line with guys moving before the snap count, maybe he was afraid that something might happen.
Exactly was going to be my point, because between the crowd noise, you already had 4 false starts in the game. Between that and say you do move the ball up on a play and can't get up fast enough. You know how the defense, the Bills, every team would do it, tries to keep you down. You may not, even though 20 seconds seems like an eternity.
I wouldn't have run a play. I just would have tried to ground it at that time. I just would have spiked the football at that time. By the way, the locker rooms at this time reported to us are both under lock and key, so nobody is talking to any of the players as we speak. As soon as they do indeed open up the locker rooms, we will bring head coach Wade Phillips to you. But right now, both locker rooms are locked. Let's go back to the phones in Syracuse. Tom, welcome to the show. Go ahead, Tom.
Yes, hi. I'd just like to make a comment that the Buffalo Bills are going exactly where they deserve to go. They're going home. I think that was downright nasty what they did to Doug Flutie, and I think they ought to look into getting another coach.
Well,
because Doug Flutie pulled off a lot of stuff this year. He didn't have Thurman Thomas for most of the year. He didn't have Eric Moulds, which was one of his key receivers, but yet he still managed to win games. And for me, that's, you know, uncalled for what the Bills did to him.
All right, thanks for the call. I think one thing that we should point out, I think for people who felt that with the insertion of Rob Johnson into the offensive lineup here, Bob, and they saw the offensive explosion that they had in the final game against Indianapolis, a game which pretty much meant nothing, that I think they felt, and I heard some people make comments about how the Bills were going to go south and play a team that didn't play in a difficult division, that really didn't have a 13-3 record, that wasn't really good enough to hang with the Buffalo Bills. And now with Rob Johnson being the quarterback, the Bills were going to explode offensively, and it would be an easy game for them to win. But obviously, that is not the case.
Well, Tom was just talking about Wade Phillips, the head coach, maybe making some complaints. Wade Phillips post-game press conference brought to you by the document company Xerox. Let's go to Wade.
Yeah, there we go. Well, I've seen a lot of them. I hadn't seen one like that before. I thought our guys played tremendously well and played well enough to win, and showed a lot of heart. The second half came back. Certainly our defense was dominant. And like I say, I thought we played well enough to win, but we didn't.
Did they give you an explanation, Coach, on what happened there?
They didn't tell me anything.
You see a replay with?
Yeah. I don't want to comment on it. I mean, you know, that's what replay's for. That's why we put it in. So, you know.
What about the first half?
Late first half.
Same thing. That's what replay's for. You know, I was surprised they didn't review it.
With yours, the one Fearless caught, it's a sideline play.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Wait, what was the explanation for the one where the ball was moved about 6 inches up that gave them the first down, and they went down and...
He said that's where he saw it on the replay. They replayed that one. So we had a heck of a year. You know, it's a shame it had to end this way, because I thought we outplayed them, especially the second half. And I thought we settled down. The first half, certainly we made way too many mistakes, and that cost us. And then, you know, holding penalty on a field goal, which we don't teach a guy to pull and hold a guy. So, you know, I'll have to look at the film. We've never done that. We've never taught that, and that's what they call. So we'll have to see.
Were you anticipating something? Were you anticipating something crazy on their part on that final kickoff, or were you expecting something like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, we covered the field, and you know, we wanted to kick it high and short where they didn't have the timing on the play where you wouldn't kick it deep, and you know, when the guy ran over there and threw it back, we didn't. Our guys on that other side broke down. I mean, they should have stayed over there, but they didn't.
Wade, do you feel like the officials played too big a role in the game?
No, I'm not going to say that. That's up to somebody else to say.
What about halftime? What was said? What was the move?
Well, we made too many mistakes. We cost ourselves. We started out, John Fina couldn't play and said he could, and that cost us a sack. That hurt us, and then our line, we had to shuffle our line around because a lot of people got hurt, and then Spriggs went out, so that hurt us in the offensive line too. So we had some problems, and but once we overcame those at the second half, I thought we played a lot better.
Well, you just said replay is that's what we have it for, but does it make the call any easier knowing that they did review it?
That's what it's for, to get it right.
Coach, you took a tremendous gamble by starting Rob Johnson, obviously. Do you feel this is sort of that decision?
Oh, I thought we could win with either quarterback, and I think we could have won with Rob, certainly, and I thought we had a chance to win with Doug, too.
How did you think Rob played?
I thought he had struggled early, certainly. But the things that got him in trouble were the offensive line jumping, and defensively. We did the same thing on defense. After we settled down, and I'm talking about the offensive line settled down, the one safety was snapped too early. We snapped the ball too early. The first play was a screen, and they covered the screen, and he didn't know where to throw it. So, I thought he fought back and then made a big play to Eric Moles and got us down there. So, I thought we had a chance to win.
Coach, what were the injuries to Marlo Perry and John Fina?
Well, Fina was hurt going into the game, and he thought he could play, but then when he got out there and found out that he couldn't backpedal, it was unfortunate that he found out when he was on the field. I don't know about Marlo Perry, but he's hurt.
Thurman's knee at ice.
Yeah, Thurman got banged up too. Spriggs had I think he pulled a muscle or whatever. He was hurt too.
What did you say to the team when you came in, Wade, after that?
I told them I was proud of them. I thought they had a tremendous year. I thought they played with courage, and I thought we played well enough to win.
Do you think a lot of this game boiled down to who had the whole field?
Well, certainly it helps. I mean, you can look at especially the number of penalties the first half that we had. Certainly that helps.
Coach, can you talk about the emotions your guys went through in the final seconds of this game, the ups and downs?
Well, we felt like we were going to win the game, and then, they felt like it was taken away from them.
When Rob lost his shoe, what was his plan to try to go in there and spike the ball?
No, he was going to throw the ball. We were going to throw the ball, and right there, I thought we could win the game. I was worried about him not having a shoe on, him slipping down, something happening where, we didn't have any timeouts, those kind of things. So that's why I went ahead and kicked the field goal.
So you did contemplate at least?
Yeah, we thought about another play, but, we don't have any timeouts, and our quarterback doesn't have his shoe on. Now they called timeout, but then we decided, well, we need to go ahead and kick it here because if we make a mistake, it could cost us a game.
What about the job Peerless Prostus did getting out of bounds?
Yeah, he did a great job. Peerless, of course, we could have spiked the ball after that, but Peerless played well in this game. I thought he had a good game for us.
Wait, do you plan to have the discussion with the league about the?
I'm sure they'll tell me.
Were you, when Phil Luckett, you saw he's a referee, he had problems last year, were you?
No, I don't worry about any of them.
Coach Reed was a non-factor.
I know that. He didn't catch the ball. What do you want to say? Well, okay. Peerless played well.
Thanks, guys. We'll bring Rob out. He's almost done showering.
Coach Wade Phillips, Rich, and
that, of course, was head coach Wade Phillips. Obviously, a bit testy, and you can't blame him after the result of what he just witnessed on the football field. If you just happen to join us, the Bills losing to Tennessee 22-16. Bob Trimble, Jim Brinson, Howard Simon is in Tennessee. You will hear from him a little later on. And we will continue to bring you interviews from the locker room with respective players. And also you'll hear from Jeff Fisher, the head coach of Tennessee, and also Steve McNair and Eddie George of Tennessee.
Now, I'm going to get into the Phil Luckett Luckett discussion, the crew chief, in a little bit. But what I wanted to talk about first was, yes, the Bills had an opportunity to win this game and came back very strongly with a good chance to do it. But the Bills had two people they had to keep in mind throughout the course of this game, and they weren't able to contain either one of them. On the defensive front, Javon Kearse, especially in that first half, he had 2 sacks, he had a forced fumble, and he also had a safety. These are important points. Because of that banged-up offensive line, they knew they had to try and control him. They weren't able to do it. On the other side, for only the 3rd time this season, the Bills surrender over 100 yards rushing to a running back. They had to keep Eddie George contained, and for the most part they did, but nonetheless 106 yards, and Tennessee goes on to win this football game. But despite the fact that the Bills made an awful lot of penalties and a lot of mistakes in this game, I found it very strong to commend them for the fact that they still had an opportunity to win this football game, overcoming their own mistakes and those of the referees.
How many times throughout the course of the season have we been on this show and said they had to overcome their own mistakes?
Yep.
They weren't impressive at all offensively, and they certainly weren't impressive today offensively, yet they found a way to win.
That defense
today,
being a big part of it.
They didn't find a way to win.
That's right.
All right, we're going to take a timeout. We will come right back. We'd like to remind you, of course, the Empire Sports Report, 10:30. It is Sunday through Saturday. Mike DeGeorge, Monday through Friday. Josh Mora on the weekends. A full half hour of scores, highlights, and all the sports news you need to know. It's the Empire Sports Report right here on the Empire Sports Network.
The AFC wildcard game, the Buffalo Bills rushing for 123 yards, Tennessee slightly more at 139. The passing yardage in the favor of the Bills at 96, 219 to 194, every bit as close as the game itself. Both teams with a couple of turnovers. The sacks certainly in favor of Tennessee, 6-3. Time of possession definitely in favor of the Titans.
You know, one of the things that was really questioned in the game was the Bills' offensive line and the shuffle that had to take place throughout the course of the game. And I found it real interesting, and the disappointment for head coach Wade Phillips during his post-game news conference when he talked about left tackle John Fina not being able to go. And consequently, he got beat immediately by Javon Kearse, which ultimately caused the first fumble that we saw from Rob Johnson. And then they had to replace him, and he couldn't go the rest of the way. Robert Hicks, of course, with the injury as well. So they had to go to Marcus Spriggs. They moved Dusty Ziegler out into the left tackle spot. So the Bills, for the most part, making adjustments on the fly. And ultimately, with not their best guys in their favorite positions, it ultimately cost them. Let's go down right now, back to Tennessee, and listen in. Kurt Schultz talking to the news media right now.
Kurt, have you ever been around anything like that?
No, I'm in complete shock. You know, just roller coaster. You know, emotions. It's crazy. Never seen anything like that before. It was, we shut them down, and to get beat like that.
Tell me what it was like on the sideline. Take me from Christie's field goal, the emotions and everything going on, to the run back.
Well, obviously, you know, after Christie made the field goal, we thought, you know, it's over. And then after that, I mean, it's just you just don't believe it. We still didn't believe it. We're wandering on the field like, you know, what was that all about? It's crazy. I can't explain it to you.
Have you seen a replay? And if you guys did it look like a ladder?
I've heard, everybody says that it was forward, but I didn't see it. You know, of course they wouldn't play it on the replay. You know, so I don't know.
Kurt, just talk a little bit about the adversity this team battled through. I mean, to do everything you did in the first half, the sacks, the turnover, the penalties, and all the problems, and be in a position to win, does it make it even more gut-wrenching at the end?
Yeah, you know, because this team's fights, and got a lot of people on this team with a lot of character, and we're never out of games, you know, and to lose like that just really hurts.
Well, obviously it really does. By the way, you're going to hear from Eric Moulds in just a moment. Let's quickly break down what he was referring to, and that, of course, was the lateral from Wycheck to Davis, who took it all the way in, or to Dyson, who took it all the way in. When we first saw it, Bob and I both thought that it was a forward pass, and we kept waiting to see if there was a flag on the field, and there was nothing. And then, of course, the more times that they replayed it, and then when you saw the absolute angle of the ball, it was too close, and you know the officials, it has to be a definitive response as far as was it a bad call or not a bad call.
And when you saw Wycheck, he turned and actually did throw the ball backwards,
yes.
And when he came straight across, it looked at first as though Dyson had caught it over the line. There's no question about it. Now, a guy that caught several passes today from Rob Johnson, did a great job helping lead the team back and certainly setting up one of the touchdowns, was wide receiver Eric Moulds. Eric Moulds now standing by. Let's hear from Eric.
I mean, we just didn't come out at the beginning of the game and execute like we should have been doing. I mean, it's a one-time thing and elimination, and you got to make the plays when they're there. In the first half, we just didn't do that.
How tough was it on him?
It was real tough on him because it puts him in a situation where we have to use him to come back, and this is his second game starting of the season, and so it puts a lot of pressure on him. And I think he stepped up to the plate.
Eric, have you ever been around anything that's got you?
No, not since I've been in this league, and even in college or anything like that. I mean, I'm over on the sideline and really excited about hopefully we was going to win the game, and then all of a sudden I look on the field and I see Dyson running down the field, and all of a sudden I don't know what to think.
Eric, do you guys think the referees played too big of a part of this game? I mean, there's so many questionable calls.
Well, I mean, we put ourselves in a situation where we let the referees make the calls that they made. I mean, we just got to go out there and play well and don't put ourselves in those situations and false start and things like that. We just got to go out and play flawless football when you're in this situation.
What did you see on the final play?
The final play, I thought the ball was a forward pass and he was over the line. But, you know, who am I to make the call? They get paid to do that. I get paid to catch passes.
Eric, what was it like on the sideline? You guys just in total disbelief?
Yeah, we were. I mean, I was standing over there with Kevin, and I didn't know what had happened, and he turned me around and said they just scored or something like that, and you know, what can you do?
I mean, you guys, despite all those mistakes, you're still in a position to win the game. Does it make it even more tough to walk out of here with a loss?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you come in and you play hard as you can, and you get yourself in a situation where we can, you know, get a 1-point lead. And I'm thinking with a couple seconds left, you know, it's over. Whether we just got to sweep, kick it, or just kick it away to him and just tackle him, and that's not what happened.
I will say this: I am impressed with the Bills thus far. What we've seen, and I'm sure what we're going to hear. They're not blaming the referees at all. I mean, they made enough of their own mistakes.
Yes,
they realize that this game, in some ways, they're going to have to feel like it was taken away from them on that last particular play. But they're saying, hey, we didn't get the job done.
No, they did not. And because of all the penalties that they incurred and really kind of forced themselves into bad field positions at certain times and also set themselves up for disaster. And we saw it happen. All right, it is time now for the Rob Johnson News Conference. It is brought to you by Mayer Brothers. Let's go to Tennessee right now and listen in with the Bills QB.
And with that said, here's what.
Hey, everybody in this area, move over, guys. You got a lot of people coming in this way. Please move down so that everybody can get in. Wait till everybody's set up here. Yeah? All your cameras ready? Okay, just hang on. Come on, keep moving in, guys. Let them get in. Thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Rob, you ever seen anything like the way this ended?
No, I mean, I hope just for the ref's sake that it was legit, because that's everywhere we're getting is that it wasn't. And then you had the first half. They won't even review Peerless's call, and I guess he caught that ball. I don't know where he was at, but you know, we at least get a field goal out of that. They go down and get a field goal. I don't know. I hope that all their calls were right.
Did it feel like you're getting a little bit of a home job there?
I don't know if it was a home job. We didn't play well offensively in the first half. I don't know how many penalties we had and missed opportunities. And we rallied in the second half like we normally do, and we thought we had it. I've never had a swing of emotions that great.
Rob, you talk about the line for the field goal. You lost your shoe. What happened on the play?
I don't know who got me, but I don't know how he got my shoe off. I had a spat on there too, and he ripped my shoe off. And you know, I didn't really have time to get it back on, so I just went without it.
Was there plans to go out and snap the ball and down it immediately to run some more time off the clock at all? Or?
No, I didn't. Yeah, Doug was talking about that in the shower. We probably could have done that. I mean, hindsight, it shouldn't have happened. We should have won the game, and you don't think about that stuff. Steve kicked a great kick, and you think with 16 seconds left and they have to go length of field, you don't think they're going to have a shot. But, we probably should have done that in hindsight.
Rob, what for you was the biggest difference in the second half from the first?
Our third down situation in the first half, it was third and long, and we had guys rotating in that hadn't been in there. We had three different guys playing three different spots in the whole line that they've never played before, and they battled their butts off. And I think we just settled down. Everyone was, I think, a little anxious. We jumped off sides quite a bit, and I missed a few balls. And
Let's talk about Javon Curse. He seemed to be.
Yeah, he got one on John. John tried to play, and he said he probably shouldn't have. I mean, he tried to gut it out, and which every player will try to do, help the team. He got one there, and then the other one we had to check, and most guys heard it, and some didn't, and saw it happen. I mean, we stopped checking after that, obviously.
Rob, how would you describe your emotions over the last minute?
I mean, when it happened, Steve kicked unbelievable kick. That's a great pressure kick, and what a stud. And then to have that happen, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to describe. I don't know.
Especially to happen for you. I mean, you were in that situation that everybody wanted to see how you react. You drove him down. You got the field goal, and you must have left the field thinking, we got this one. Right?
Yeah, especially because I missed some opportunities early in the game, and I definitely wanted to redeem myself on that drive. We felt, we go down and score, we win the game. Nothing else matters. No mistakes that we'd made in the previous three and a half quarters would have mattered. And so we went out and we did it, and we got beat.
Well, you talked about your performance in the first. You talked about you missed some plays in the first half. Was part of that your first playoff game? Was part of that nerves?
No.
Situation, the funny week.
It wasn't that at all. I missed K-Dub on probably by 2 yards, and I thought he got bumped out of his break, which I think should have hit him if had that play again. I just thought fingertips those happen, and other than that, I don't think too much in the first half. We did the plays that were called, but we're in such third and long and tough situations. It was tough to pick them up, and then I wish we had that audible back. That was tough. Might not try that again. Obviously we wouldn't try that again. We went to the sidelines and we said if they gave us this defense, we wanted to check to a certain play, and I guess the play looked good. I think Jay was open on a deep corner. We could have got a big play out of it, but it doesn't matter if you can't hear, so I shouldn't have tried to do that.
On safety, Wade said that the ball was snapped too quickly.
Well, I tapped him on the ass tapped him on the butt to tell him that I was going to come under and start the cadence, and when I tapped him, he snapped it. And it's just, it happens. That's, I guess, why they're 8-0 here.
How tough is that Tennessee defense?
They're different here than they are on the road. They're a good defense. I mean, they have a lot of speed, and I like to play them without all the mistakes. Without all the penalties and missed opportunities. I think we'd have done all right.
Rob, how does this set you up for next year? Safety, when you went over to the sidelines, you and Jerry were having a somewhat animated discussion, and it looked like some players had to get between. What was the problem there?
Just two guys heated. I mean, I thought he should have heard it, and he didn't. And I mean, that's basically it. And it wasn't Jerry's fault. It was my fault for trying to audible. And if the guys can't hear, it's my job to make sure they can. And he didn't get it, so we're ticked off. We gave that was a 9-point difference right there. So obviously we're going to be a little PO'd. So we let that was it. I mean, we got into it, and then he said, all right, let's go. It wasn't like we're going to hate each other for the rest of our lives.
In your offseason, last question, with this opportunity you had, and you had him in position to win, and it's just a great. Will you live with this all?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I was really looking forward to it. I already had my plane ticket down to Jacksonville, until that kickoff. I was really looking forward to that, and I had made some mistakes during the game, and I thought, having a fourth quarter drive would, make up for all that stuff, and we did that, and to lose it, it's just disheartening.
Did Flutie give you any help on the sideline?
Yeah, he was good, real good.
You feel like you're the starter going to camp next year?
I don't know.
Let's go, Rob.
I was one.
All right, of course, that's Rob Johnson talking to the news media, and it's interesting from the standpoint, the disappointment that you hear in the Buffalo Bills players and, of course, head coach Wade Phillips. You sit back and you try to assess everything that took place in this game. The Bills, with the insertion of Rob Johnson, were looking for more offense. Sure. They put 16 points on the board, which has been about their average all season long, for the most part. The defense came up big at certain times, but once again, what does everybody refer to? They refer to mistakes, and more mistakes. And that's ultimately what cost this team to get this victory.
Right. I didn't anticipate a high-scoring game because of the strength of defenses. We got that. Rob Johnson with just 131 yards passing, but he seemed to get the job done in that second half when he needed. Now, one of the guys that didn't get a job done today because he didn't get a pass thrown to him. Wonder why? We don't know. Andre Reed spouting off. Let's see what he says today.
You know, out of pure frustration, it just happened to come out at this time, and I don't think that really was a distraction. You know, I know the fans have been with me ever since I've been here, and none of that was directed towards them. So, you know, just out of frustration and every word you can think of this year. You know, it wasn't directed towards anybody or anything in particular. Just that's the way I felt at the time, and you know, I vented it out. And you know, I just hope that. Believe me, I'd love to come back here and finish here. You know, I don't know if that's in the cards right now.
Talk about the relationship between you and the
we have a good relationship. I think, you know, I have nothing against, like I said, I have nothing against anybody. Yeah, I'm on this football team to try to help this team win. And as a leader on the team, you know, the guys are going to look to me and, you know, for guidance and look to me for leadership. And I have to go about it in any way that I can. Yes, I would like to be out there and contribute because I know I can, but you know, if it's in the cards for me to be out there, I would have been out there, but it wasn't. So.
Andre, you said in the Journal that you'd like to go elsewhere. You're saying now you'd rather finish your contract out here?
Well, right now I don't know. You know, I know that the team is going in a different direction, and whether or not I'm part of those plans, I don't know. I mean, it really doesn't look that way, but, you know, if they want me back, I mean, you know, we can clear the air and just, you know, I would like it.
So you'd go for that? You won't go and ask them for a release? You'd go for a...
Well, I don't know yet. I'm not saying. I mean, you know, that'll happen within the next month or so, probably. I'm sure, matter of fact, I have a meeting with Mr. Wilson in about a month, and we're going to talk about some things. You know, Mr. Wilson loves me. You know, he wants me to be back here. But you know, I have some issues too that you know, that he needs to hear. And whether or not it goes down, I don't know. We'll just have to see.
No matter what, you still feel you have football left in you.
Oh, I know I do. You know, you don't ever tell a man that he can't do something, or you know, doubt somebody, whether or not that happened here or not. You know, I know I can still play, and I could be of service to somebody. And wherever it is, if it's here, I'm coming back with a vengeance. Believe me, I've done it before through injuries and everything else. So, you know, I've always proved people wrong, and that's what I'm going to do next year. So I'll just go about it like that.
With your Super Bowl losses, what is this? How does this?
Well, this is today. It's pretty good. This is a good one. This is a great loss. When you play that hard the way we played today, and to have it lose like that in the last, you know, 16 seconds of the game, yeah, that's hard to swallow. You know, could we have done things differently to whatever? I mean, you know, you could speculate about that, but I think we played well enough to win. And, you know, that was a pretty gutsy call by that ref. I think he was thinking about if he was going to get out of here or not.
You think they made a few questionable calls today, not just the one?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the first down call, I think Peerless's catch, you know, 3 or 4 things probably that could have been a slight difference in the game. I think, again, I just feel real sorry for the team, and because everybody played their hearts out, and everybody pulled for everybody else. And we deserved to win that game. I think, you know, they escaped. But, you know, that's how the ball bounces, I guess.
Andre, what about your own personal?
Run Andre right away.
All right, Andre Reed down in the locker room area.
I'll say this. I have respected Andre Reed from afar and also in my time here in Buffalo. A tremendous, tremendous on-field athlete. He gives everything that he has. He's been a big part of this football team, but he talked about leadership. Leaders pick their spots, when to talk, when not to talk. I don't believe what he said this week was a distraction to the football team. I think it was more fans and media getting in, but I think he needs to learn to shut his mouth and talk when he needs to talk, and that was a mistake. If he's got a problem, you deal with that after the season. You don't deal with it going into a playoff game. I think it was ill-timed. I think it was very unprofessional. And if he wants to go, he wants to stay. He plays both sides of the fence from what I've seen, and I was pretty disappointed in that.
All right, let's check out some numbers then that we would bring to you, the quarterback comparisons, and neither one had what you would call a stellar day. In fact, both were pretty close to dreadful. 10 of 22 for Rob Johnson, only 131 yards. He was sacked 6 times. 13 of 24 for Steve McNair, only 76 yards. He also had an interception. That was the one that Kurt Schultz tipped, and then it was picked off by Winfield.
Right.
And the Bills sacked McNair 3 times. So this was not a game which was controlled by the QBs.
2 solid quarterbacks that had to face 2 solid defenses. If you answer this week's Pro Player Trivia question, you will win a Pro Player prize pack. This week's Pro Player Trivia question is, the Tennessee Titans play in Adelphia Coliseum. In 1960, the franchise entered the American Football League as the Houston Oilers. Where did they play their games in that time? Pro Player, are you a fan? We'll find out right after this.
Welcome back, everybody. Jim Brinson, Bob Trumbull here in the studio. Howard Simon is in Tennessee at Adelphia Coliseum. You will hear from him a little later on. And we will continue to go to the locker room, and you'll hear from the Buffalo Bills as well as some of the Tennessee Titans. Right now, let's go to the guy who thought he had the winning field goal, a 41-yarder by Steve Christie. Let's listen in right now.
I guess that's a question of the week. You know, was it forward or was it not? You know, we obviously think it is. So.
Were you in any position to tell?
Well, I just saw it on the Jumbotron, so I mean, I like to see it on film from a side view to really see for myself. You know, from the Jumbotron, it looked like it. From maybe the referee's view, it didn't look like it. So.
When you guys went out on the field for that kickoff, did you anticipate some kind of shenanigans?
Yeah, I mean, that's why we kick it really high and, you know, and short, you know, to one of the bigger guys, so that way we can get around him and close him down.
Steve, I mean, obviously you had to walk off the field before that kickoff thinking you were going to be one of the heroes in this game. It's got to be one of the biggest shocks you've been.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I'm stunned. I really don't know what to say. I mean, I was. Did you get a big kick at the end, and then they run? You know, we could have squibbed, and they probably would have done the same thing. You know.
Your role on that play. Just talk about how you saw everything develop. Because obviously, I know you were like the last guy in the sideline with a cavalcade of Titans players.
Yeah. I mean, I went. He pitched, the big guy in the back there, he pitched it away to my left, and so all our coverage guys went to the left, and the guy threw it across the field, and they had a whole wall set up, and I was over there with no prayer. I mean, no chance. That was it.
All right, that's Steve Christie down in the locker room once again after looking at several different angles of the replay, and the officials, of course, doing the same thing. Bob and I pretty much came to the conclusion that there was no way that they were going to reverse that call and change it to a forward pass. When we both saw it, we both thought that it was a forward pass, but when you have the camera right there on the line and you see the ball does indeed come right down the line, no official is going to change that call.
They call it a game of inches, and in this game today, the first down play with McNair, that play on the lateral, truly a game of inches, no question about it. Let's take a look right now at some of the receivers today for the Bills and for the Tennessee Titans. Not a lot of offense, at least, but Peerless Price doing a fine job today for the Bills. 5 catches for 62 yards. Eric Moulds also with 3 catches for that same 62. Frank Wycheck may have only caught 4 passes for 29. A bobbled one helped keep a drive alive for sure, and then, of course, the huge lateral. And Jackie Harris, the tight end, also with 4 catches for 20 yards.
Bob, it's interesting because this was a 13-3 team, the Tennessee Titans, and a team that played in the very weak Central Division, yep. And everybody said, well, let's see, they got Cleveland twice, they got Cincinnati twice, they got Pittsburgh twice, and then, of course, they had to play Jacksonville. Well, they beat Jacksonville twice. and they played extremely well when they had to. And I think a lot of people had the misconception because they had an easy schedule in comparison to the AFC East, the so-called most difficult division to play in, where the bottom team was 8-8, and then you look at the Central Division, where teams could barely get a victory. Talking about the expansion Cleveland Browns, I think a lot of people felt Buffalo was going to go down and roll this club. It is not the case in the National Football League, especially when you go to the playoffs. All right, let's quickly head back to Tennessee right now. He is the owner of the Buffalo Bills, Ralph Wilson.
You know that it wasn't.
Well, yeah. I think replays worked very well this year. I really do.
Mr. Wilson, is this the toughest loss or the craziest thing you've ever been through as an owner?
Well, I've never seen I don't know that I've ever seen any team lose like that. Not just the Bills. They had the play set up. It was about the only way they could win it unless they ran the deep kickoff back or got way down into field goal position. And it looked to me like they had the play all set up with blockers over there, and we converged on the kick, and he threw it out there. And it was a heck of a play on their part. So I really feel bad for the players. Hey, I've seen 40 years of this stuff. Not like that, but I've been through a lot. I really feel bad for the players because they tried really hard, and the Titans. It was a great game, I thought. The Titans played hard, and we played hard.
You got to feel for Mr. Wilson in so many ways because he has seen almost the ultimate highs with that great playoff comeback that we talked about against the Houston Oilers, the 4 Super Bowl defeats, losing this game the way he did. He and also Bud Adams, the owner of the Oilers, now Titans, starting in that American Football League back in 1960.
What does this tell you? Deja vu all over again. Because when they were the Houston Oilers, everybody remembers, in fact, I think it was ranked as the 5th greatest game in NFL history, the great comeback by the Bills. And now to have the opportunity to win the game snatched from you on a trick play with no time left.
That happened over a second half over time. This one was, like they said, in a matter of 16 seconds, you go from the ultimate high to the ultimate low. All right, we want to have a answer for you. This week's Pro Player Trivia question, once again, in 1960, where did the Houston Oilers play their home games? Well, it is Jeppesen Stadium in Houston, and Robert Magabro of Tampa, Florida. Congratulations, you're our Pro Player Trivia Quiz winner.
All right, let's quickly head back now to the Tennessee Titans Stadium, the Adelphia Coliseum. Mike DeGeorge also down in the locker room. He's chatting right now with Antoine Smith.
All right, thank you. Antoine, you were, I think at the end of the game there, I mean, you were in tears at the end. I mean, have you ever been through anything close to like this? Swing of emotion?
You know, it was a playoff game. I actually, 0-2 in the playoffs, so I wanted to win my first playoff game so bad. And, you know, the way that the team came back and fought to get back in the game and to take a lead and to have it, you know, just vanish from us like that, it was really emotional for us. When you were watching from the sidelines and the kickoff and you see them throwing the football around and running, just your thoughts as you're standing there? I'm hoping somebody tackle him. I'm hoping anything going to step out of bounds, but as he made it across the goal line, it was just disbelief, shocked, disappointed, of course, and just thinking, what do we have to do to win one? Offensively, I mean, you started off and you had a lot of problems in the first half, penalties, everything else. Second half, though, I mean, things started to turn around. I think it was a little bit more focused in the second half opposed to the first half. Of course, the crowd noise, there was tremendous out there. We may have played a role in, but we need to be more focused in that situation. It's a playoff game. We know if we win, we move on. If we lose, it's going to be a long off season. Did you sort of lost track here, so if somebody's got a question, go ahead. Did Rob Johnson show you anything? I think, you know, I think the second half he came out, took control of the offense, had a better understanding of the offense, what we was trying to do, and went out there. I think he played the best game. I mean, the best game that he could have played out there. First half, he was under tremendous pressure, so we're just happy that he didn't turn the ball over, and I think, you know, overall he played a great game.
It's one of your line today. Those guys were held together with Band-Aids, I guess, and you guys were in position to win the game. Yeah, you know, we was a little banged up on the offensive side of the ball with the tackles, you know, both our tackles actually. And, you know, those guys came out to show great character straight and a lot of will to go out there and win in the second half. We just came up a little short.
you think Johnson's experience in the playoffs hurt the team?
I don't think so, because if you look at it right there at the end of the game, with 20 seconds, we had to leave. We was in position to win the game. So, but they coaching staff, had a great job, made a great call on us, and state special teams won the game for them.
Now, a guy the Impaler and even Bobby the Brawler wouldn't want any part of in a fight is Javon Kearse, the fine rookie defensive end of the Tennessee Titans. He is now standing by. Let's hear his comments in the aftermath of today's game.
Have you ever, people who've been in this game 40 years said they've never seen anything like this. Can you just talk about the swing of emotions there?
It was a very emotional game. We went out trying to leave everything out in the field. Everyone played their hearts out, and it went down all the way down to the end. So we had to play a pretty good 60-minute game.
But I would think that you guys had to be pretty down and distressed after Buffalo got that field goal to go up with 16 seconds to go.
Yeah, somewhat, but then again, Buffalo left us life. Buffalo left us 16 seconds. You get the kickoff, you get tackled, you get one or two pass plays and got out of bounds, leave us about a second or two, you can kick a field goal. So they basically left us life, so that helped us out.
Just tell me your thoughts and your feelings as you saw the kickoff and all of a sudden you saw the play develop.
We worked on it since preseason all the way up to this week. Then finally the coach made a good call, and the players that went out there and executed. So it was a good call and a good play by the players.
First time you ever used a play this season?
I believe so.
You guys dominated in the first half. You shut down Buffalo's offense. The crowd noise here really helped, doesn't it?
Yeah, it helped us out a lot. By us getting good jumps off the ball, some of those guys couldn't hear or even get off the ball. So, the 12th man, they really did their job this weekend. Hopefully, when we go away, we'll be able to have some kind of motivation or have some fans to follow us down where we go.
That, of course, is Javon Kearse, the fine rookie, and we have to emphasize rookie. This guy's going to be along for a long time. They call him the Freak. He loves the nickname, and you can see why. He's probably one of the most popular guys on the team in Tennessee.
You see the picture they had in the magazine? He can put a full 12-inch ruler between his thumb and his finger. I'm thinking, that's a big hand.
Yeah,
there.
he's a tremendous athlete. All right, back to Tennessee quickly. The Titans QB, Steve McNair, chatting with the news media. Let's listen in.
Have you ever seen anything in your life like the way this game ended?
That was the first time. I think, I've been a part of some big plays in my life, but to have that one work and working in our favor is a great feeling because, you never see that nowhere ever. But it happens, and, even the guys work hard in practice on that, and it finally paid off for them.
Now, some people are saying it was a forward lateral.
Well, I think they made a great call. It was a backward pass. The guy did a great job of running. The wall was set up beautiful, and they scored, and that's what counts.
You guys go down the field and you get the field goal there to take the lead late in the game. Did you feel safe? Did you feel like you had the game at that point?
Well, you're never safe in the NFL, especially when you're in the playoff. You always have that, feeling in your heart that, they can come down and score. But, we've been playing well. We've been winning these close games throughout the year. We didn't give up at any time, even though it was 16 seconds left on the clock. We knew that even the offense had a chance to win with two timeouts, with only a few seconds left on the clock. So we're a team that we're on a mission here, and I think everything is happening to our favor, and we just got to keep playing good ball.
Was that a special play because Wycheck and Dyson were in on the kickoff there?
Yeah, it was a special play. It was designed for that. But the things that happen is that that shows that we're a team that never give up. Anything can happen, they didn't give it time.
Steve McNair, of course, the Titans QB, out of Little Alcorn, and it's interesting because when he first got the National Football League, he sat. And he sat for a number of seasons and only got spot duty. And it was a situation where everybody thought, oh, you should have McNair in the game. You should have McNair in the game. Well, at that time, the Houston Oilers, Bob, had another quarterback in Chris Chandler who was pretty good.
Right.
And they didn't need to throw him into the Lions at that time.
Right. And I also think based on the program that Steve was at, it was very important for Steve to sit back and watch and take in the game from a cerebral standpoint so that when it was time for him to play, he'd feel better. Peyton Manning coming in, I want to say just his background at Tennessee, a bigger program, and they frankly didn't have anybody there. You get Peyton right into the game.
Yes, it was a totally different situation.
Right. But McNair, it looks like the patience paying off.
Absolutely. And remember now, this is a guy who sat out. I think he missed 4 or 5 games because he had minor back surgery, and now he is back. And even though he did not have a spectacular game, he did what he had to do to try to help his team to win.
Absolutely.
Let's go back now to Tennessee. Check in with Howard Simon. I think he's talking right now with Henry Jones.
Henry, you've seen a lot in your pro football career. Have you ever seen anything like what you saw at the end of this game?
No. The feeling after this one was right up there with the 3 Super Bowls I was involved with. The bad part about it is we really felt we had the best team in this thing. When we came on the road against a team that won 8 in a row at home, with the personnel they have on their defense and the offense, and to play them the way we did, it really hurts to lose it like that.
What was it like, the range of emotions? Take me from Christie hits the field goal to the touchdown for Tennessee.
Well, the thing with me is I tried to keep it even keel because I knew we had 16 seconds of ball left, and I didn't want to let down to the last, to the clock read 0. And I was happy, but I was cautiously happy because I knew we had to go back out on the field and do work. And when I saw the trickery, I was like, I wanted somebody to get them on the ground. It was a good call by their staff, and they executed it. I don't know how well they executed it, but it worked.
Did you see a replay at all? Do you think it was a forward pass?
No, I haven't seen a replay at all yet, but the buzz around the locker room is that it was a forward pass by about 1.5 yards, but it's a forward pass nonetheless. I mean, they got to make the call one way. They got to make the correct call, and they didn't do it.
Is it kind of ironic that you...
Save me a Pedialyte. Go ahead.
All right, Henry Jones down in the locker room. Right now, we're going to switch gears and go away from listening to some of the guys talking and go back live to the stadium itself. Mike DeGeorge, Howard Simon are down there. Phil Luckett and his staff have issued a statement concerning the final play of the game, and Howard and Mike have read it and have their thoughts on it. Gentlemen?
Yes, indeed, Jim, and just want to let you know that the folks up in the press box are dubbing this now the Miracle, the Music City Miracle. I think a lot of people have a hard time arguing with that. Here is the official statement from the NFL referee, Phil Luckett. Here's his quote: "The line judge's initial ruling was that it was not a forward pass. We went to the instant replay, taking from where the pass left the passer's right hand on that yard line. The receiver catches it right there on that yard line. It did not appear to be a forward pass, therefore there is not a foul." Now, that's the ruling, and that's the official statement from the referee. But there's a lot of questions still going around the stadium, Howard, about whether it's the hand or the feet.
Yeah, and I think that was some questions outside the Bills locker room. In fact, there were some reporters who were being, I thought, were told by NFL officials here initially that it's where the foot was. Even if Wycheck's arm is forward, it's where the front foot is when he releases the football. And on the other hand, when Dyson catches it, it's where his front foot is when you receive it. So even with that statement, Mike, and that was a pool reporter from the Tennessee newspaper who was allowed to talk to Phil Luckett and get that and distribute it to all the media. Even with that, there still seems to be some confusion.
And I think there will be some confusion for some time to come. And we should also mention that a lot of talk inside the Bills locker room, wondering about a couple of things away from this. Number one, why not maybe spending a few more seconds to run off the clock before the field goal? And then why the short kickoff? Why not just kick it deep?
Yeah, I think there'll always be questions about that. Steve Christie talked about it earlier. I think they may have seen this already on the show, that's what they want to do on a play like that. The idea is to kick it high, kick it short to one of the big guys, and get your guys in position to make the play. But obviously they didn't expect. Well, they knew there were going to be some shenanigans, but they didn't think it would work out to the point where Dyson's on the far side. Because really, I think Christie was the only guy over there against just a cavalcade of Titan players.
The Music City Miracle.
The home run throwback. That was the play. They've practiced it. They don't believe the Titans said they never used it. They think this whole season, but they practiced that play. And remember, Wycheck threw a touchdown pass earlier this season, so he has the ability to throw that ball.
Absolutely right. For Howard Simon, Mike DeGeorge at the stadium in Delphia Coliseum. And now let's go back to our studios in Western New York. Jim and Bob?
All right, guys, thank you. We will check back in with both of those gentlemen in just a little bit. Time for us right now to take a quick time out. And we want to remind you that you can also use our worldwide website. There is our address. You can email us at the address that you see on the screen, and our internet services are provided by Online Media. You are connected. 681-3664. Get online today.
In the Bills locker room with General Manager John Butler. I don't know, have you ever been around anything as gut-wrenching in this? And this, you've been through Super Bowls, I know that.
Yeah, I've been through the 4 Super Bowls. That's very, very tough, no question. And what happened there, in a regular season game, this is the toughest one I've ever been through for the way it concluded at the end.
What I don't know. I mean, how do you cope with this? A lot of these guys are having problems coping with this today.
Well, you know, we're a strong, prideful bunch, and we'll cope with it. It's just tough right now. It eats you up, and it should eat you up. I mean, anytime you lose, it should take a little bit out of your insides, and this one does. There's no question about that. But I still look back on this team, and I'm very, very proud of what they even accomplished here today. We came back, put ourselves in a position to win the football game. It didn't take place, but they fought the whole doggone day.
You were up in the box till the end of the game, right?
Yes.
What was your impression of, or your interpretation of the kickoff return?
I looked at it on the monitor. As far as forward lateral, you asking Howard? I just looked up to the monitor, watched the replay of it, and I noticed the guy had the ball at the line, at one particular line or behind it, threw it ahead to the other one. Our people upstairs merely thought it was a forward lateral. Obviously, the whatever they call the guy up in the box up there must have thought it too, to stop the play and then to have it reviewed, but it didn't work. It was a day that we sure had a lot of penalties against us. Some things that even hurt us. They get an extra shot at a field goal. They finally make it because of what I consider a phantom call. 9 penalties on us in the first half. But got to be a smarter, better football team, I guess.
John, it sounds like a cop-out anytime you use officials. However, however, the play at the end, the McNair ball spot move, you look at some of the plays today and don't you scratch your head?
Sure do. There's no question you do. And I always said you got to put yourself in a position where they never make a difference in a ball game. But, at times I do have to wonder, you're rewarded to go to the playoffs. Teams are, because they won so many times, and you create the ability to be in the playoffs. Those gentlemen are supposed to be the top ones, and that's how they are assigned these particular games, and it should be an honor to them and prideful too. And it's a shame sometimes. I wonder if much effort's put in by some other folks as it is by other people.
I don't know what you can't change the outcome of the game, but what can you do as an organization? Will you do anything in terms of bringing this up, or?
Oh, you can bring it up, and you can bring it up, and you can bring it up, and I'll hear many excuses. I can promise you that. I'll be talked to by the league. They'll tell me how they see it, but what good does that do right now? What will we do as an organization? We'll just put this one away right now, and we'll go right back to work tomorrow, because before we know it, the year 2000's on top of us.
Let's think about that last play. Did anybody get an interpretation from the NFL at all as to what they determined?
I haven't heard. I haven't heard anything from the National Football League. That was the official on the field that had to make it, and that was his call. He's had trouble before with the coin flips and a lot of things in his career. It's too bad.
John, you look at the way your team came back. Talk about the second half and the way, despite everything that went wrong and the injuries, penalties, turnovers, all that, you still put yourselves in position to win this game.
And that's the key. It'd been easy to go the other way. We've had quite a few injuries up front here today. Jay went out with an injury. We started to lose Thurman. I thought in the second half we came right out. We got the opening kickoff right then. I think you set the standard. We went right down the field to score. We played excellent defense all day long. We got ourselves in position again, and Steve Christie makes a nice 41-yard field goal, and then the end happens. So, again, as I stated earlier, I'm very proud of the football team for what they accomplished in a very tough place to play right here, and they put themselves with a chance to win a football game.
Last two things, I know you got to catch a plane. Some of the guys have said it's even tougher to take this because obviously it's going to be an off-season of change. Every off-season is, and they felt this team was put together to make a good run, and now who knows what will happen.
Yeah, we'll go right back to work and put together the best we possibly can to make another run at it. That's again, it's always bitter. And it's tough to take, and it'll be a long off season thinking about it. But you got to go right to work and get ready for next year, because I want to be right back here again at it.
Andre Reed said he's going to meet with Mr. Wilson in about a month. Do you think he'll be back? Would you like? You guys want him?
I'm not going to speculate anything. I've always said, wait till the season's over. Make sure your emotions are such that you got a clear head. Don't try to do things right now, and just settle back. And I really feel that you make sound, good, rational decisions.
John, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
John Butler joining us in the Bills locker room. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thanks very much, Howard and John. The NFL Wildcard Weekend Scoreboard brought to you by Hart Hotels, the home away from home for sports fans. Visit them on the web at www.harthotels.com. Once again, the final score from Nashville, the Tennessee Titans over the Buffalo Bills, 22-16. That is an AFC play. Going on right now in the NFC is this one coming from Washington, the nation's capital. The Redskins all over the Detroit Lions. This is 27-0. They have yet to reach halftime. Now, coming up tomorrow, In the AFC, Miami visiting Seattle. The Dolphins coming in at 9-7. Likewise, the Seattle Seahawks at 9-7. And then moving back again to the NFC, that game tomorrow afternoon will be the Dallas Cowboys and the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings 10-6. The Cowboys just squeaking in, Jim, at 8-8.
Yeah, well, those last three teams all backed in with Miami and Seattle and Dallas. We all know that. Well, we've received an awful lot of telephone calls, people wanting to pick up once again on the comments of defensive lineman Marcellus Wiley, and we felt that it was important enough for us to re-show his news conference down in the locker room. So if you hadn't had a chance to see it, it is very interesting. Let's listen in once again. Marcellus Wiley.
How do you put into words what emotions you guys are feeling right now?
Well, let me say that I'm not going to articulate how I feel because it's worse, nastier, more negative than I can express. But we didn't lose. We didn't get our butts beat. We got it taken. And taken because of all these variables. I don't know, these weird calls we heard. I mean, they holding on one guy on a PAT or a field goal, 3 points given. You give a kicker 2 chances at it, put him closer. They didn't review our call, but they reviewed McNair's scramble. Why? Just why? Just consistency in the whole thing. Where's the consistency in this game? You know, I didn't see a congressman or a senator. It's so political. You know, I know there's big money, there's big business, this is a game. I know I'm going to get fined probably. I got fined last week. I don't care. As long as you take it before I see it, who cares? We don't play anybody next week. Well, New England was something that was a shocker, and everyone was like, wow. But we're the victim in that situation. We don't want to be on NFL's weirdest endings or greatest moments for the other team. I mean, I don't care who wins the Super Bowl. I don't care about football right now one bit because I know our work, this team work, we're supposed to be at least next week. And it was smack taken from us. You know, someone gave a helicopter ride to the top of the mountain when we climbed it. And we didn't see that coming, and it happened. 16 seconds left in this game. We were supposed to win. Yeah, they made a great call and great play and stuff, but everyone says he threw the ball in front. And that's something from Papa Warner we would never do. We'd lateral it back. And now he's throwing it in front, whatever. But just call the stuff that's supposed to be called. Who cares what they crowd is getting you pumped to throw a flag for or not throw a flag for? Or, you know, we had a lot of offsides, and we missed turnovers, and we made turnovers. And we didn't play 100%, but I thought it was supposed to be a consistent person out there, and they got stripes on it. It's supposed to be a consistent aura out there. And that camera review is supposed to be just the all in. But it's too, I mean, we didn't lose, man. We just got taken.
I mean, you're obviously a pretty upbeat guy. How do you deal with all this? Because obviously this is, I don't know where you go from here.
Where you go from here? I mean, for real, I mean, I'm depressed, dog. I'm depressed. I really want to take time away from everything. I don't even want to see reality, and I don't want to see anything because it's not real. This is not real. This is football. You play against another guy, and if he wins, he won. You know he won. He knows he won. You lose. You should have heard them guys on the other team when they were reviewing it. I don't know. I mean, if you thought it was yeah, they're second guessing. They're like, I don't know. They're lining up and thinking they have to do it. They knew deep down, and they know deep down right now. I wish them the best, and I wish them the worst. I wish them whatever they want. They can have whatever they want because we don't get what we want. We don't get another try. We don't want a letter from anybody saying it was right or wrong. That New England stuff, they should have learned from that. Yeah, we don't get a letter this week, and we don't play anybody next week. I won't see you guys at the mini camp stuff. Who wants to sweat, bench press, and do all that stuff again, and then this could be the ending, We've been studying for this for a long time, and we thought the final exam was coming up, and then someone's just going to give us a bad grade just because they felt like it. That ain't right, man. You're supposed to work. They know they ain't beat us, and we know when to lose to them. It's something else. It's this another variable of, I don't know, I guess this is big business. This is football on the NFL level, I went to Columbia, dog, and I ain't never had these kind of hype and BS happening. And now on this level, dog, why? Who wants to go to camp, man? I just don't see going to camp and getting that emotion up again to have this ended. This gonna stick. This gonna stick. Yeah, they say bounce back and come back next year or this year. What? How you gonna do that? How do they expect our psyche to be right now? And I know my psyche's jacked up. I know by April I'll be hype and happy and ready to go kick somebody's butt again. But deep down in the back of your mind, if this occurs, you just got to say, what does it all mean? What is it for? What's the ending? And y'all know it. Y'all just, everyone's bound by this political correct stuff, and everyone's bound by what the referees do and the commissioner. But we know deep down, everybody know the Bills supposed to play next week. Bills not playing next week. The player, we ain't gonna never be together. And all these numbers, check our roster next year. Is gonna be some guys losing, going to different teams, guys retiring. Man, we supposed to be running for Atlanta this year, and now we running home. Why? Why are we running home? Because someone kicked us out for no reason. I don't know. Whatever it's supposed to be done, man. We need to get on the committee with everybody else, and so we won't get these weird endings. New England, this. Come on, review one play, review the other play. Don't review one, you picked it, because you hear the crowd going. You see these signs up. You're scared to walk away from that monitor and say something that you know is right. I guess the cycle came, and we got the same officiating crew again. Did they make bad calls, good calls? I don't know. They just didn't make consistent calls, and that's what's, if we jump offside and then they call it, we ain't gonna say God of officials is doing all this, but review one, review both. Unusual. It was so unusual today to hear a defensive holding on an extra field goal. Do y'all want to report again so y'all can get all hyped up and say the Bills gonna make a run and pump them, and then next year at the end you say, well, they lost because finish that statement. Anyone out there in America, the Bills lost because, and you can't answer it. Nobody can answer it. They can't answer it because I don't feel it. I don't know why we lost, man.
That's Marcellus Wiley, and as you can tell, a lot of the players overcome with disappointment, and rightly so, at what happened at the very end of the game.
Absolutely, that's right. Well, we're going to continue with more of the Topps post-game report here, but we want to tell you, coming up tonight right here on the Empire Sports Network, it's Sabres hockey. We begin it with Russer Sabres game night at 6:30. Buffalo visiting Ottawa at 7 o'clock. Rick, Jim, and Danny with the Call Hockey Hotline immediately following the game with Brian and Mike, and then it's Josh Mora and the Empire Sports Report for the complete wrap-up of the day and night at 11 o'clock.
Wrestling fans, tune into Fan TV Tuesday nights for From the Top Rope. Join Ivan the Impaler and host Bob Trimble as they review key matchups and tournaments from the WWF, WCW, ECW, and USWF. Catch all the action during the nighttime edition of Fan TV Tuesdays.
Trucks! 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 If you're looking for trucks, you'll find what you're looking for at the Truck Giant, Orleans Ford Mercury. From rugged F-150s to hard-to-find F-450s, Orleans Ford Mercury has the trucks you want to buy at the price you want to pay. We stock one of the largest new and used truck inventories in New York State. So call us now at 1-888-5-ORLEAN. Orleans Ford Mercury, the Truck Giant.
If you like surprises, you'll like a lot of tire stores. See, they'll quote you a low price to get you in the door. Then you find out about all the extras they forgot to tell you about, like valve stems, mounting, balancing, until, surprise, you're paying up to $20 extra per tire.
Other stores may charge extra for extras. At Dunn Tire, get the low out-the-door price you came in for. The extras are free.
When it comes to tires, I don't like surprises.
At Dunn Tire, get our lowest out-the-door price. No extras ever.
Start the new year with a better night's sleep. Buy a City Mattress bunk bed. Each bunk mattress is just $2.
Proven technology for business. United Business Systems.
One of the fastest growing names in digital office equipment is Gestetner. That's right, Gestetner. Our full line of digital imaging systems offer unsurpassed output quality and connectivity that IT managers demand. Gestetner Digital Imaging Systems.
Proven technology for business. United Business Systems.
Sportsline with Paul McGuire, Tuesdays at 7 on Empire Sports Network, your sports source.
Time now to give you the Bills' 2000-2001 schedule. It's brought to you by Dunn Tire, the home of out-the-door pricing. Lowest guaranteed prices, no add-ons or extras ever. It's Dunn Tire, your tire pros. Well, of course, we don't know the dates or who is home or who is away, except for the way that it's set up. You see the home games against Tennessee, San Diego or Oakland, Chicago, Green Bay. The away games will be Seattle, Kansas City, Minnesota, Tampa, and the home and homes, of course, are within the AFC Eastern Division.
Jim Brinson, Bob Trimble joining you here in our West Seneca, New York studios. Time now to send it back down to Nashville, Tennessee and the Adelphia Coliseum with our good friends Howard Simon and Mike DeGeorge. And guys, we just got a report from the NFL, again, making the ruling clear that a pass thrown parallel to the line of scrimmage is considered a backwards pass. Despite the fact that Wycheck's feet were behind the line and Dyson's front foot was ahead of the line, the pass was considered parallel. Go figure.
Well, apparently we're having an audio transmission problem. They did not hear Bob's question at that time, but we will entertain your telephone calls at 1-800-388-7897. We'll try to hook up our transmission line also with Howard and Mike as we continue to roll right along. But now we will indeed take your telephone calls and your thoughts about what happened with the Bills and the Tennessee Titans today. Quickly, let's just run down a couple of things that did take place. Ineffectiveness of the Bills' offense, couldn't generate hardly any offense whatsoever until you had the long run by Antoine Smith.
Banged up line.
The banged up offensive line, you can attribute to that. Ineffectiveness of Rob Johnson with the football, giving it up to Javon Curse in the first half. That was costly. Also, then in the second half, the Bills kind of got things going in their direction. Momentum shift. And then Tennessee capitalizes at the end. Buffalo thinks that they have won the game on the field goal by Christie, only to have it go down the drain on the lateral by Wycheck to Kevin Dyson, who runs it all the way in for a touchdown, and subsequently the winning score of 22-16.
May have been the longest 16 seconds in the history of football. It certainly will be for the Buffalo Bills franchise. As Jim mentioned, we want to entertain your phone calls, 1-800-388-7897. Let's go to Buffalo and Chris, and welcome Chris to the show. Hello, Chris. Hi, Chris. Go ahead.
How you doing, guys?
All right, Chris, ask your question.
My question is what does the NFL rule state where players' feet need to be on a forward lateral?
Okay.
Every play in football I have been in has been that the player who is receiving the ball needs to be behind the player who was throwing the ball.
Okay,
it doesn't look like that's what happened here today.
That's correct. That's an excellent point, and we talked about that where the position of the feet were concerned. But we just looked it up in the rule book, and the rule book states that if the official deems it a parallel pass, in other words, if Bob and I are lined up equally and he tosses to me, they're saying that even though it was parallel, and they're not talking about where his feet are or where my feet would be, it would be deemed a lateral or a backward pass, and that's the way they're escaping on this deal.
And I'm with you, caller, on that particular play because it was very clear. The one thing we do see for sure on the replays of this, that Frank Wycheck, both of his feet were behind the particular line of scrimmage right there. His arm was forward of it. Kevin Dyson had one foot partially on the line, a little behind it, and one foot completely forward. So from that angle, it looks like it's a forward pass, but they're considering it. The arm was forward, the foot was forward, and it's fine.
Right.
And actually, in a lot of ways, looking at this, the feet don't even matter.
No, but it's interesting that they would bring that up. And then, of course, referee Phil Luckett issuing the statement stating that essentially that it was indeed the way that his staff saw it deemed a lateral. So consequently, there was no flag thrown on the play, and they were not going to change that particular call. All right, let's quickly go back then to Tennessee. Wade Phillips earlier, of course, talking to the news media. We felt it's important that you hear once again from the Bills head coach on the final game of this past season. Here's Wade Phillips.
Well, I've seen a lot of them. I hadn't seen one like that before. I thought our guys played tremendously well and played well enough to win, and showed a lot of heart. The second half came back. Certainly our defense was dominant. And like I say, I thought we played well enough to win, but we didn't.
Did they give you an explanation, Coach, on what happened there?
They didn't tell me anything.
Did you see a replay with?
Yeah. I don't want to comment on it. I mean, that's what replay's for. That's why we put it in. So,
What about the first half? Late first half.
Same thing. That's what replay's for. I was surprised they didn't review it.
With yours, the one Fearless caught, it's a sideline play.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Wait, what was the explanation for the one where the ball was moved about 6 inches up that gave them the first down, and they went down?
He said that's where he saw it on the replay. They replayed that one. So we had a heck of a year. it's a shame it had to end this way because I thought we outplayed them, especially the second half. And I thought we settled down. The first half, certainly we made way too many mistakes, and that cost us. And then, holding penalty on a field goal, which we don't teach a guy to pull and hold a guy. So, I'll have to look at the film. We've never done that. We've never taught that, and that's what they call. So we'll have to see.
Were you anticipating something? Were you anticipating something crazy on their part on that final kickoff? I mean, were you expecting something like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, we covered the field, and we wanted to kick it high and short where they didn't have the timing on the play where you wouldn't kick it deep, and when the guy ran over there and threw it back, we didn't. Our guys on that other side broke down. I mean, they should have stayed over there, but they didn't.
Wade, do you feel like the officials played too big a role in the game?
No, I'm not going to say that. That's up to somebody else to say.
What about halftime? What was said? What was the move?
Well, we made too many mistakes. We cost ourselves. We started out, John Fina couldn't play and said he could, and that cost us a sack. That hurt us, and then our line, we had to shuffle our line around because a lot of people got hurt, and then Spriggs went out, so that hurt us in the offensive line too. So we had some problems, but once we overcame those at the second half, I thought we played a lot better.
Well, you just said replay is that's what we have it for, but does it make the call any easier knowing that they did review it?
That's what it's for, to get it right.
Coach, you took a tremendous gamble by starting Rob Johnson, obviously. Do you feel this is sort of that decision?
I thought we could win with either quarterback, and I think we could have won with Rob, certainly, and I thought we had a chance to win with Doug, too.
How do you think Rob played?
I thought he had struggled early, certainly. But the things that got him in trouble were the offensive line jumping, and defensively. We did the same thing on defense. After we settled down, and I'm talking about the offensive line settled down, the one safety was snapped too early. We snapped the ball too early. The first play was a screen, and they covered the screen, and he didn't know where to throw it. So, I thought he fought back and then made a big play to Eric Moles and got us down there. So, I thought we had a chance to win.
Coach, what were the injuries to Marlo Perry and John Fina?
Fina was hurt going into the game, and he thought he could play, but then when he got out there and found out that he couldn't backpedal, it was unfortunate that he found out when he was on the field. I don't know about Marlo Perry, but he's hurt.
Thurman's knee at ice.
Yeah, Thurman got banged up too. Spriggs had I think he pulled a muscle or whatever. He was hurt too.
What did you say to the team when you came in Wade after that?
I told them I was proud of them. I thought they had a tremendous year. I thought they played with courage, and I thought we played well enough to win.
Do you think a lot of this game boiled down to who had the whole field?
Well, certainly it helps. I mean, you can look at especially the number of penalties the first half that we had. Certainly that helps.
Coach, can you talk about the emotions your guys went through in the final seconds of this game, the ups and downs?
Well, I mean, we felt like we were going to win the game, and then, they felt like it was taken away from them.
When Rob lost his shoe, what was his plan to try to go in there and spike the ball?
No, he was going to throw the ball. We were going to throw the ball, and right there, I thought we could win the game. I was worried about him not having a shoe on, him slipping down, something happening where, we didn't have any timeouts, those kind of things. So that's why I went ahead and kicked the field goal.
So you did contemplate at least?
Yeah, we thought about another play, but, we don't have any timeouts, and our quarterback doesn't have his shoe on. Now they called timeout, but then we decided, well, we need to go ahead and kick it here because if we make a mistake, it could cost us a game.
What about the job Peerless Prostis did getting out of bounds?
Yeah, he did a great job. Peerless, of course, we could have spiked the ball after that, but Peerless played well in this game. I thought he had a good game for us.
Wade, do you plan to have the discussion with the league about the?
I'm sure they'll tell me.
Were you, when Phil Luckett, you saw he was a referee, I mean, he had problems last year, were you?
No, I don't worry about any of them.
Coach Reed was a non-factor.
I know that. He didn't catch the ball. What do you want to say? Well, okay. Peerless played well.
All right, those were the comments by head coach Wade Phillips immediately following the loss by the Buffalo Bills to Tennessee. The final score 22-16. Back to the telephones at 1-800-308-7897. Let's go to Cheektowaga. Hi, Paul.
How you doing?
All right, man.
Hi,
what's
Paul.
up?
Very disappointing loss, but I think I have to just throw something out that you can't put this one on Rob at all. I mean, the guy, yeah, we had trouble in the beginning. Offensive line wasn't helping out much, but he did. He took you down there. He gave you the leading field goal, bottom line. These fruity people got to relax, man. This guy's the future, and last but not least, that was a ridiculous call. This guy's a joke. Look at the replay. I can't believe you guys haven't even brought it up. You haven't even shown it in 2 hours. Clearly,
we can't show it until 6 o'clock. It's against the NFL rules.
Okay, I apologize, but clearly, it was a forward pass.
Well, we've looked at it several times when they replayed it, okay? And as soon as I saw from the field level itself, I said there's no way that they were going to reverse that call. And you would not get an official to reverse that call. Once again, this is the response by Phil Lockett, of course, the lead official today. The line judge's initial ruling was that it was not a forward pass. We went to instant replay, taking it from where the pass left the passer's right hand on that yard line. The receiver catches it right there on that yard line. It did not appear to be a forward pass. Therefore, there is no foul. Well, Bob and I both sat here and said, well, because Dyson had 1 foot behind the line and 1 foot over the line, it appeared to be that it was going to be a forward pass. But you're not going to get any official to make that change.
Yeah, my biggest problem with it was because I didn't know the ruling exactly, but with Wycheck completely behind the line of scrimmage, except for the right hand, I felt immediately that would have been a forward pass, even though it was a short amount of distance. It was very clear in that, but apparently the feet don't make any difference. It's the pass, the hand, and the reception. So that's where we stand.
Yeah, and we're not. I don't think we're dumping this on Rob Johnson, but what we're saying is he was inserted into the lineup to stretch the field. He obviously didn't do that, only throwing for 130 yards. He threw it 10 of 22. This was not a great offensive game. Steve McNair was awful in this game, yet Tennessee still won. Now, is it a call at the end of the game which cost the Bills? Most likely, but they still walk out with a W, and what counts is if you win or lose, and the Titans won.
Jim, my last thoughts, the irony of ironies. No goal in the Stanley Cup Finals for the Sabres, and now no touchdown for the Bills in the playoffs. It's unbelievable what happens to the teams here in town. They played their hearts out. They deserved a better fate, but that's what happens.
For Mike the George and Howard Simon, our live coverage in Tennessee, along with Bob Trimble, I'm Jim Brinson, and to our entire crew, we hope you enjoyed our entire coverage of the Buffalo Bills on the postgame show. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next season.